Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com for NFL picks. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Today is October the 15th, 2015. Right? The information here is time sensitive. The time is 10:10 a.m. Pacific time, West Coast, California time, for those keeping track. Let me say this. The odds right now, according to some books, on the Golovkin Lemieux fight, in my opinion, are too expensive for Golovkin. Right? It's a minus 1600. Let's do the math. Right? 16 plus 1 is 17. They're telling you that if these two guys fought 17 times, David Lemieux would win one time. Now, while I believe Golovkin wins the fight, I'm not buying these odds. Now, let's say you're one of those casual gamblers who goes to the book and says, oh, I love Golovkin. I've seen some great Golovkin highlights. I'm going to take Golovkin at whatever price they're offering. You need to understand that at these odds, you would get back, if Golovkin wins, less than 6% of your money. Right? It's 5.88%. You always want to do the math. So that means if I bet $100 and Golovkin wins, the casino will give me $5.88. Right? Now let me say this. I'm someone who, if I'm in, let's say, the MGM, they'll give you a drink voucher for every $100 you bet. So sometimes, and I'm not there as much as people think, sometimes I'll be in that MGM sports book. I'll feel thirsty. And I'll say to myself, okay, well, the Cleveland Cavaliers are playing at home against the Philadelphia 76ers. Right? I might say, okay, you know what? I want a free drink on the casino. Let me go bet $100. Just so I can get the drink voucher. Right? Let me say this. Even though I'm that kind of bettor from time to time, this bet at these odds is too risky. Right? Understand, David Lemieux beat Hassan Endon. Understand, David Lemieux beat Gabe Rosado. Right? Understand, David Lemieux has been through a lot. He lost back-to-back fights once in his career. Right? He fought Marco Antonio Rubio. Right? Who came back in the fight, gave him a pretty bad beating. He's had great moments, he's had bad moments. He has a punch, a huge punch. So, I gotta tell you, even if you're the kind of bettor who occasionally will say, okay, you know what, let me go bet $100 here to get cab fare back to the airport or whatever, to go to McCarran or whatever. Even if you're that kind of gambler, the casino has removed, in my opinion, all of the value for betting on Golovkin. Think about this. You know, I like to hedge plays with so-and-so by KO. Now understand, a plus 100's even money. Right? You know, I bet $5, I win the bet, I get back my $5, then I get $5 in winnings. Right? That's even money. Did you know that Golovkin here is a minus 500? What that means is I have to go in to win by KO. Right? Knockout. Now I know he's been knocking everyone out. Great. But a minus 500 to win by knockout? The casino wants me to bet $50 and to only get $10 back if Golovkin gets the KO? Let me go one step further. Let's say I'm a big-time hedge bettor. let's say I've decided that neither of these guys has survival skills, that I can't recall the fight where Golovkin got hurt and had to hold on to survive the last minute or minute and a half of a round. Let's say I can't recall the fight where Golovkin had to get on his back foot and had to get on his horse, right, and had to move away from an opponent to survive the round. Or where Golovkin was dealing with a bad cut, a closed eye, right, and had to win a fight using his other eye, had to win a fight with a torn bicep, right? Let's say I don't recall that fight. Let's say all I've seen is Golovkin walk through guys. Golovkin on his way to an unbeaten record, ending fights inside of the first 7 rounds, right? Let's say that that's all I've seen of Golovkin. Then understand, at these odds, which are too rich for Golovkin, right? Simply too rich to just pick a side. At these odds, I would reach the conclusion, okay, Golovkin's either going to get the knockout or he's going to get knocked out because he's facing a guy with a big punch. So, because the casinos have drained all the value from the Golovkin side, I'd have to get provocative. I actually have to start to pick rounds, don't I? I have to get off this road and I have to get onto another road. The side's too rich. Now I'm in the neighborhood of picking rounds, right? Let's say I feel the fight's going to end in the first 8 rounds. Let's say I also feel that Golovkin in the first round, even when he's dominating in a fight, often will spend the first 60 to 90 seconds being cautious, looking at you from across the ring. He's not a guy who runs across the ring and attacks you immediately. No, he's a cautious stalker, isn't he? He's looking at you. He doesn't even throw a lot of punches. He's not a volume guy. He's an accuracy guy, isn't he? So he's walking around, he's looking at you. He's kind of studying you. He's figuring out, he's feinting, seeing which way you move. He wants to know when he can throw power shots. He'll lead with power shots. Right? So let's say I say, okay, well, I don't expect Golovkin to get a KO in the first round. Right? If you're a hardcore gambler, you're then going to have to make a decision. You're going to have to say, okay, well, which round props do I want? Right? If I believe the fight's going to end by KO, maybe I take rounds 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe you believe that because both guys are front foot heavy, because Lemieux's only chance in this fight, in my opinion, is to leap across the ring like Lennox Lewis did against Andrew Golota, like Mike Tyson did against Brian Nielsen, right? To leap across the ring and attack his opponent, not give Golovkin that learning curve where Golovkin's walking around looking at you, studying you, not give Golovkin that opportunity to literally come across the ring. If you feel Lemieux is going to try to raise room temperature early, maybe you want rounds 1 to 6. But what you don't want to do, in my opinion, is to take Golovkin at minus 1,600 odds. Then I get a net you less than 6%. Or to take Golovkin by KO at minus 500 odds. That's what the casino's pricing it at, right? Bet 50 to win 10, and then try to hedge the play with Lemieux to win at plus 800 or Lemieux to win at plus 900. Understand those hedges are just going to net you something like 6.6%, right? If you take Lemieux plus 800 just as a floor hedge on Golovkin to win by KO, right? You're going to have to be provocative. Let me say this too. The value side of the play is with the guy I think is going to lose this fight. It's with David Lemieux. When a guy has a punch like he has, right? He has more than a 1 in 17 chance of winning the fight, doesn't he? Isn't the casino undervaluing him here? Right? Understand, if you bet on Lemieux simply to win, this includes Lemieux by decision, you're getting a plus 800. I view this fight really as a lottery fight. In other words, you know when you buy a lottery ticket, you expect to lose. But wow, let's say lightning strikes. Let's say your ticket's the winning ticket. That might be worth several $1,000,000 or several £1,000,000. So you'll buy the ticket expecting to lose, but understanding that if you win, you're getting a windfall. The only side of this play that gives you the possibility of a windfall is the David Lemieux side of the ledger, right? I'm not saying Lemieux wins. I personally expect him to lose. But understand, at these odds, which are ridiculous, right? At these odds, any betting portfolio that you have needs to include at least a little money on David Lemieux by KO plus 900, or David Lemieux simply to win the fight plus 800. Understand, Lemieux's a world-class fighter, and we simply don't know enough about Golovkin, right? As I've said before, who's the toughest guy he's fought? Think about it. Matthew Macklin. Do you consider him to be one of the elite fighters right now? Daniel Gill goes on to be dropped by Miguel Cotto. Right? Golovkin's resume really isn't Canelo's resume, is it? In terms of the high level quality of opponents. Right? There's no Austin Trout, there's no Floyd Mayweather on Golovkin's resume. Right now, I don't blame any champion for fighting who's in front of him. Right? But in Golovkin's own weight class, he hasn't fought Peter Quillin. He hasn't fought Daniel Jacobs. He hasn't fought Miguel Cotto. He hasn't fought Andy Lee. He hasn't fought the other champions in the weight class. He hasn't fought Matt Korobov. Right? Think it through. Right? So, a guy can look dominant, but at the same time have holes in his game. To YouTube Nation, let me challenge you. What's the fight where Golovkin is hurt and has to hold on? How do you know that he has those skills? Where's the fight where he had to come back from adversity? In a different generation. Let me tell you about a night. I was in Tijuana. We heard people screaming across the street. I was rolling with a bunch of friends. We were just out running the streets, right? We heard people cheering across the street. We ran across the street. Almost got hit by a car. Ran across the street, right? An unbeatable champion named Mike Tyson was fighting Buster Douglas. When we got to the bar, Mike Tyson was on the canvas, reaching for his mouthpiece. The thing that shocked me the most as I looked at the TV was that Tyson had a knot over his eye. Right? I had never seen Mike Tyson with a knot over his eye. I hadn't seen Mike Tyson in a fight where Mike Tyson was cut and had to deal with any adversity. Just seeing Tyson with a swollen eye was jarring. That's when you understood Tyson was getting worked in the fight. Right? Tyson loses his title that night. What's the fight you've seen where Golovkin has a knot over his eye? Keep in mind, even Floyd Mayweather was a bit puffy, right? after the Miguel Cotto fight. I'm not saying Mayweather was completely busted up, but even Mayweather's face has shown the effects of an opponent more than Golovkin's face. Right? Golovkin's never really been hit hard in a fight, nor has he been cut or hurt in a fight, nor has he had to go on his back foot and buy time in a fight. If he hasn't been in that deep end of the pool, he doesn't deserve minus 1,600 odds simply to beat a world-class fighter, especially one with a knockout punch, which leaves little room for error. Understand, against a guy who, let's say, is a stylist, right, who's looking cute, against a pretty boy, okay, you have a bad round. You're still on your feet. If you're fighting a Lemieux with this kind of punching power, if you have a bad round, the ref might be holding up 10 fingers, and you might be like Gene Fullmer was against Ray Robinson, looking up saying, gee, what's going on? Where am I? Who's this guy? Why is he counting? Right? So, my point is this. You're going to have to get provocative on this fight because of the posted odds. We deal in real odds here, not fairy tales. Right? The odds, even though Golovkin is a world-class fighter, the odds are too rich on Golovkin right here. You're going to have to take rounds, and you're going to have to include in your betting portfolio to hedge parts of your position a little bit of money on David Lemieux. That's how I see it. Let me hear from you. If you know of a sports book offering tempting odds or tempting props, go ahead and leave that information in the comment section to this video. Right? You don't have to incriminate yourself. Don't incriminate yourself by saying, hey, I always bet with this illegal sports book. I don't want that. Rather, all I want is, if you know of, let's deal in the world of hypotheticals, if you know of a sports book offering tempting odds on this fight, one that you feel is credible. I don't want to hear about some sports book where people place bets, then they don't get the money back when they win. If you know of a sports book that's credible, that's offering a tempting prop on this fight, right? Fight doesn't go 8 rounds. Fight doesn't go 6 rounds. Whatever. Right? Golovkin at shorter odds than minus 1,600. Then I hope you leave that information in the comment section to this video. Thanks for stopping by.